Welcome to ELL Plus with me, Blair Jiang.
And me, Josefine Henneberg, bringing you news and features from around London.
The boroughs we cover are Hackney and Tower Hamlets, Lewisham and Croydon.
In this week's programme, there's anger about the cuts to children's mental health services in Lewisham.
Kids will go on to harm themselves, they will commit suicide.
And in Croydon, the council takes back control of libraries following the Carillion collapse.
And the New Cross Walk-in Centre will close down in just 2 months' time. Our top story, cuts to mental health services in Lewisham have provoked outrage among campaigners. Lewisham Council is changing how young people's mental health services are organised. They say it will be more efficient and it will save money. But members of the Safe Lewisham Hospital campaign are worried about the impact it will have on patients. Malika Fachrou has this report.
On Wednesday night, campaigners turned out to protest about the budget cuts to the mental health service in Lewisham. Nikki Murray's son has been awaiting an appointment for over a year. She blames the cuts by Lewisham Council for the long waiting list.
My child was waiting on the CAMS list for well over a year. He's still not been seen. He went onto the list when he was practically at breaking point. And the fact that he's still not been seen yet, a year down the line. My son has long been recognised as having problems. It was because he was unsupported with regards to his special education needs, is that then led on to further problems, all of which could have been avoided.
Nikki and the other protesters are hoping to speak to Lewisham Council members and persuade them to cancel further cuts.
You know, we all need to unite together against the government and say that, you know, if they put through these cuts, it will be very destructive to the lives of children and young people in Lewisham, and, you know, our waiting lists will grow even longer.
This is the chart from the council showing budget changes in the mental health service. It shows savings of almost £300,000 by 2020. The council says the changes will make the service more efficient.
For children in this borough, that there will be more deaths, because if the staff aren't there or if they're not available straight away when they're actually in crisis, the kids will go on to harm themselves, they will commit suicide.
We tried to contact the Lewisham Council for response to the protests, but we haven't received an answer yet. The cuts on the mental health services have started in a very emotional debate, and these protesters behind me will gather again on the 6th of February. Stay with us for an update. Malika Fachrou for ELL+.
Staying in Lewisham, a post office stop the heart of the community in New Cross Gate is set to close. It's one of 5,000 post offices that have closed down in recent years. It will be replaced with a franchise branch that's part of a one-stop shop. Vivian has this report.
Save our post office! Save our post office!
Nearly a year ago, protesters gathered outside the New Cross Gate post office to demonstrate against its closure. As the company seeks to reduce its cost, Post Office Limited announced that Crown Post Office will move from its existing building on New Cross Road into a shop a few doors away. Earlier this month, the Post Office spokesperson met councillors and residents from New Cross Gate to clarify questions.
We're very concerned about the move. The proposed new site is smaller. It has less counters, less staff, less qualified staff who are not being paid the London living wage. We're also concerned that this building here, even though it's larger, it's got a big forecourt. So at busy times, people can queue outside. In the new site, people will be forced to queue onto the pavement in one of the most polluted streets in London, if not the UK.
The post office said that in the new premises, There will be sufficient space and access for customers, including those who use wheelchairs. Services will be unchanged and available for longer hours. Feelings are running high among local residents.
I mean, I've been living up that road for the last, well, since 1984 I've been living here. And when I first moved here, I was absolutely delighted. There was a post office here, there was a bank next door, which is gone now. There was a fishmonger's, there was a proper vegetable market, a butcher's. It was a real kind of little hive of, it felt like a community.
The post office union representative Clive Tickner said it was a sad time for the community. He said, "Our positions are completely opposed to each other. The post office seems keen to slash and burn, cutting its way to profitability." Whatever the residents' concerns at the move is going ahead, and we can only wait and see if they are founded once the new post office opens. Its closure signifies a wider issue, with traditional historical buildings disappearing from local areas due to austerity. To many people, the new Crown Post Office is more than just a post office. It's a very important part to their memories. Vivian for EL+.
Now it's time for our regular roundup of Bhowan news. This week with Neena Bhowan, a reporter on our news website, East London Lines.
Hi, Neena.
Hi.
So what interesting stories are coming up?
Well, for those of you taking part in Veganuary this month, there's London's first all-vegan pub is opening. It's 100% vegan, which means they'll be serving vegan food, vegan wine and beers, and even the furniture is vegan. And the owners have said that they're hoping to attract a more diverse kind of clientele. And he said that in the past, people kind of see vegans as hippie, sandal-wearing kind of people. So,
But what is Veganuary?
It's being a vegan for the whole of the month of January. Yeah.
And what else can you tell us?
Zip cars. Have you heard of zip cars? They're a bit like Boris bikes, but in the past, you've had to, if you hire a zip car, you had to take it back to its original destination. Now with Zipcar Flex, that's a new app, you can find out where there are zip cars that are available, and you can do a single journey. So you just have to you can hire a car and leave it at the destination.
Interesting.
And hopefully it was going to make the congestion on London roads a lot better, and it will be much more environmentally friendly.
Interesting. So there appears to be a dog church service in Stoke in Newington. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Okay, I'm really looking forward to this one. I'm hoping to be there myself, even though I don't have a dog, which is absolutely fine. Stoke Newington Church is a non-religious church, and they're hosting a service for dogs on Saturday, and you take your dogs along, and you can celebrate all things doggy. So they're going to be having doggy singing and telling stories about their dogs, the dogs they have there, and maybe even former dogs. I think it's going to be barking.
Thank you, Neena.
Thank you.
Stay with us after the break. We'll find out how Croydon libraries are beginning a new chapter following the collapse of Carillion.
And how the Whitechapel Fatberg is making a return to London. The collapse of Carillion has had a big impact on Croydon libraries. The service was outsourced to the construction giant 5 years ago, but now Croydon Council is back in charge and says the contract with Carillion will be terminated by the end of this month. I headed to Croydon to find out more.
The Croydon Library, inaugurated by Queen Elizabeth in 1994, was facing closure. However, the council has now stepped in and taken control over Croydon Library after troubled contractor Carillion ran into financial difficulties. The council will ensure that the 13 libraries in Croydon will remain open. Councillor Timothy Gottfried said, "The council has been considering its options over the past few months, after it became clear that Carillion was running into difficulties. We are determined to protect and boost our libraries for residents now and for generations to come." East London Lions has been told that staff had to pay for their own materials for the kids' clubs over the holidays. Councillor Timothy Godfrey also told us that suppliers such as photocopying were not paid by the Carillion management. Under the new management, the council has guaranteed permanent jobs for the library staff. In addition, all members will be paid the London living wage. This is another important step for Croydon in the bid to become London's borough of culture. Local residents will now get the best out of their libraries.
New Cross Working Centre is to close at the end of March. The Clinical Commissioning Group confirmed the closure on Monday after months of consultation. Monika Ghosh has been finding out how patients will be affected.
We take blood pressures as part of the whole picture.
Dr. Abraham, a senior clinical director of the CCG group, sees patients like Valerie every day. He helped make the decision about the closure that will affect 30,000 patients every year.
You're obviously living a very healthy lifestyle.
He explained what was behind the decision to close the walk-in centre in New Cross.
The walk-in centre provided access but not continuity. Most of the patients who attended the walk-in centre could have their needs met in other ways, so it all added together that it was a better way to go forward when the contract ended.
If they can't use the walk-in centre, where can patients go?
We've improved the access to primary care through the GP Extended Access Service, which is available 8 till 8, 7 days a week and can be booked. Every patient, whoever they are, wherever they're from, whatever their need, if it is urgent, a GP practice will see them.
Dr. Abraham also stressed that patients could use the pharmacy as a first point of call, as well as the NHS 111 service. This is the last walk-in centre in South London. The move to close walk-in centres is to make sure people register with GPs and that patients are treated with a medical history. Doctors say it's safer, but the local council and many residents have been upset by the decision to close.
Well, we're deeply disappointed that the Clinical Commissioning Group have decided to close the walk-in centre, but we're concerned that this is not the right thing for our community, and we're concerned that it will reduce access to primary care and put extra pressure on our hospital when it can least afford it.
The CCG deny that it will add pressure to hospitals, but both sides agree that the best way forward is to make access to primary care easier. The centre will close on the 31st of March, so local residents are encouraged to sign up with a GP as soon as possible. Monika Ghosh for ELL+.
And finally, the Museum of London is set to welcome a new addition straight out of Tower Hamlets, the London Fatberg. It was discovered in the Whitechapel sewers last September. Fatbergs are a mixture of oil, fat, wet wipes and other rubbish, which doesn't break down. They block the sewage arteries of London. The Fatberg, a bit like this one, is expected to go on display on Friday, 9th of February, just in time for the February half term.
Oh gosh, that's disgusting. Well, that's all for now. We'll see you next week.
In the meantime, you can catch up with all our latest on our website, eastlondonlines.co.uk. Thank you for joining us.